Thank you. Okay, good morning, everyone. My name is Kara Cleveland, and I am the Professional Development Office Supervisor with the Indiana State Library. And today we have with us Stephanie Haynes, who will be talking about creative aging and the lifelong arts. Before we start, let me just make sure I didn't ask you, Stephanie, do you want to hold questions till the end? Or would you like to have me jump in and
yeah, I'll try and monitor the chat and we'll make this an interactive thing as much as possible on Zoom.
Okay.
Excuse me.
Just a quick reminder to everyone, as far as the chat, when you open chat, go down to the bottom and make sure where it says to, make sure in that drop-down menu that you've chosen everyone. And then that way, everybody will see your questions. So, okay, I'm going to turn it over to Stephanie because she's got lots of good stuff to share.
All right. Hey, everyone. Welcome. I'm so glad that we can do this conversation today. As you'll see on my slides in a minute, that I'm calling this a virtual discussion. And I know this is kind of a one direction Zoom right now. Normally, I'd love to get more back and forth going. But we're going to just discuss creative aging. We know that libraries are a key kind of community hub, especially for older adults. And so this is a perfect connection, I think, between the Indiana State Library and the Indiana Arts Commission. And so to introduce myself, Stephanie Haynes, I'm the Arts Education and Accessibility Program Manager at the Indiana Arts Commission. I work on school-based programming. I work on this creative aging initiative and accessibility. So accessibility in the arts, making sure that our arts organizations are welcoming and inclusive of the disability community. So a lot going on, and a lot of that overlaps with the aging population. So we consider the work we're doing in creative aging an arts education initiative because there's learning involved when we work with our creative or our older adults. The Indiana Arts Commission, I have a slide for this, is a state government agency, just like the state library. We're actually like across the hallway from each other. If I go under the tunnel, I can go visit my friends over in the state library. And we serve the whole state of Indiana. And I wanted to say that, last month, oh my gosh, what day is it? We actually in November, we were at the Gary Public Library. I don't know if you were at that training or heard about it. We were at the Gary Public Library, did the longer version of this conversation for any community members, but we had a good library presence at that one. So let me know in the chat if you were at that one. So today I'm going to share my screen. This is a discussion, so feel free to ask questions. I shared my screen. Where did my preview go? There you are. Okay. Okay, at the Indiana Arts Commission, our mission is to positively impact the cultural, economic, and educational climate of Indiana through the arts. This is the simpler way to say that. We believe when the arts thrive in a community thrives. And I think our mission with libraries' mission, humanities and arts, hand in hand. We are a state government, as I said. We've got commissioners appointed by the governor, and we've got about 10 staff. We're a smaller agency. In this virtual discussion, we're going to learn about creative aging. What is it? We hear a little bit about the research, talk about how to find artists in your area, and talk about the deeper learning opportunity, the grant opportunity that we have available for libraries specifically through the Indiana Arts Commission funding. So this is kind of a little tidbit. This is like a little taste of our full training. I want you to leave this picking up some information about creative aging. I want you to walk away knowing more than you did when you came in. But, an hour isn't quite enough for us to really go into the full creative aging training because we have a full day training for this. So when you apply for the grant at the end of this process, There will also be another webinar where we're going to go deeper, a little bit more in the research, a little bit more in like how to do it. We'll actually plan, what does this look like at your site? Who is your artist? What art forms are you going to employ? And so that is what the deeper learning is all about. This is just the info session, hoping to get you guys on the hook to work with us more in creative aging. One more thing I'm going to talk about. Lifelong Arts Indiana is a statewide initiative of the Indiana Arts Commission in partnership with the Division of Aging here in state government through the FSSA, Family and Social Services Agency. You probably know. They have a division just for aging, and they have funded this very large initiative to reach older adults all across the state. We want to keep older adults active. We have research that shows that participation in the arts, in the way we're going to describe it today, it combats isolation and loneliness and helplessness, and the things that we have seen that researchers know shows that older adults decline if they have these issues going on, and the arts combat those. So we have partnered with the Division of Aging to make this big change in Indiana to give older adults more opportunities to engage in their community. And not only is this a big initiative in Indiana, nationally, I have been involved in some state-to-state conversations. I'm on some national committees for creative aging, and Indiana is leading the way with this work we're doing collectively in providing arts for older adults. We have some of the largest investment in this work, and it's super impressive. I'm really proud, really proud of us doing this work. You're about to become part of it as you start to incorporate more creative aging activities at your site. And one of the pieces of this large initiative is research that we're doing. We want to show, we know this should work, but we want to publish research that shows this is working. So we partner with the University of Indianapolis Center for Aging and Community, and they're doing a large study of this programming we're doing. If you're in the cohort of 25 funded libraries, you will also be part of this research process, and we want to demonstrate the growth that you as a provider and your participants get through this program. And that is my very quickly said preface to the fact that I would like to provide you all with a pre-survey. We can take a minute. I'm going to stop sharing. I'm going to put in the chat a link for you all to please take just a few minutes to do the survey now. Here's the pre-test, pre-survey. It's just a survey to benchmark. Here it is. Benchmark where you all are with creative aging. Some of the questions might feel like trick questions, but in the deeper learning sessions, we'll go over everything in here. Can you see the link?
Yes.
Thank you. Everyone on this call, I see 38 attendees. If you could all click that link, it'll take you to the University of Indianapolis webpage that's specific for our pre-survey. There's no grading. You will not, we ask for your name because we're gonna match pre and post tests to see growth between a single person, but we're not gonna give you a score. I'm not gonna come back in 2 minutes and say, oh, look at Becky, she did it, she got a 0 out of 10. There's no scoring. This is solely for research purposes and benchmarking purposes right now, see where we are in the field. And then we can demonstrate after we do this work for a year, 2 years, that there is growth in the field. So I really appreciate you all taking a moment to do this pre-survey. Thank you so much. It would be really helpful also if you put done in the chat when you're done, so I can start seeing the trend of people All right, thank you. I see we're starting to wrap up. They're not meant to be trick questions. Just do your best. I will never know who submitted what. You will never know. Just the pre-assessment, please. All right, go ahead and wrap up that. And back to my presentation. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you for finishing that. I will slowly ease into my presentation here, as a few of you might be wrapping up still. I don't want to give away the answers, but the next slide says, here's the definition of creative aging that we're using through this process. Creative aging is a program designed to improve and maintain elder well-being. Okay. When you take the post test, you're supposed to be able to get that because we say it a lot. We tell you the definition. That's one of the questions. Creative aging is a program designed to improve or maintain elder well-being. So creative aging for us right now is about arts, creative learning, skill building, and very importantly, community building. So this involves experiences in the arts. And when we say the arts at the Indiana Arts Commission, we have a very broad definition. We're talking about dance, theater, storytelling, writing, poetry, along with visual arts and some of the more typical things. It's very all-encompassing. And not even, visual arts, traditional visual arts, there's all the variations of ceramics and collage, and there's painting and drawing, but there's also, textile weaving, all these sort of things. I will give you some more examples later in the presentation. So there's definitely art involved, obviously. And these programs are designed specifically for older adults. So it's not just like, oh, we have this arts ed program where they do painting, this for youth, and we're just going to drop it on, we're going to change out the age range on the registration and call this an older adult program. We have been training for the last 3 years. We've been training cohorts of artists to become experts on how to design older adult programming specifically. And there are some overlaps with youth learning and older adult learning, obviously some best practices that overlap, but there are some unique elements to working with older adults. And honestly, I'm sure you all know these things. I'm talking to folks who do interact with older adults a lot, but older adults, for example, want to be there, really, they know what they want out of the process. They will stay or they will leave if it's not what they want. They come to it with a lot of wisdom, knowledge, background that they can jump right in on a lot of things where youth-based programming is a lot more context setting and background info. So with that in mind, plus more on the best practices of working with older adults, we've trained up artists to do this work and design things specifically for older adults. One of the elements that is non-negotiable in the work that we're doing is that there is socialization in the artwork. Some art forms, it's a given, you can't do theater ensemble work without having conversation and interaction with people. But some, like visual arts, you could just come in, paint silently at your desk and leave. When we ask our artists to design these curriculums, these experiences for older adults, non-negotiable, there is an element of interaction and socialization. Even if you are painting silently at your easel for part of the session, every session should have a moment where There is community talks, sharing, what did you paint today? What does that mean to you? How does that connect to a memory you have? Whatever it is, there are conversation starters, discussions planned into the curriculum to make it even more impactful and important for older adults specifically. When we talk about skill building, we talk about not just having one-offs. Like, we're not just sitting here and we're gonna demonstrate I'm bringing you one potter's wheel and I'm gonna do the pottery because I'm the artist and I'm gonna show you how I do a pot. No, the participants are hands-on. The participants learn skills over several sessions, and by the end, they have built their skills. Doesn't mean they're masters. They don't have to be perfect ceramicists by the end, but from the beginning to the end, there's skill building going on. In our practice for this, it is usually a professional artist that we encourage people to hire. In other examples of creative aging, it's not always, professional artists leading them, but since we're funding this program and we want the funding to go to hiring professional artists to help lead these programs. Okay, so that's what creative aging is in this context. If you have any questions, let me know. A quick note on what creative aging is not in my process right now. There's art therapy out there that is fantastic. It is important work. It is a medical field that has clinical implications, right? This is, sometimes they can bill insurance. They can work in a clinical setting, hospitals, and they can work independently. There is a need for art therapy. This is not that. This is not art therapy. This is not a medical intervention. We are not claiming that someone will be cured of depression from coming to these art classes. The art classes are therapeutic in that they contribute to making connections with people, which will hopefully alleviate loneliness and all those things. And there is a pattern in the research that shows it will alleviate some of that, combat some of that. But we're not claiming that this is a medical intervention that's going to cure everything, right? I mean, I don't think art therapy claims to cure everything either, but art therapy is a medical intervention used in certain situations. And so we're not hiring art therapists, we're hiring artists that are just practicing artists in their community, and they can do this work. So it's somewhere in between. I know there are lots of activities out there for both youth and older adults that can be kind of craft activities led by a non-professional, someone who maybe has done this, but is maybe not identified as a practicing artist. There is definitely room for that in this, and if it contributes to socialization and some of the other goals, that's fantastic. But for the funding specifically that the Indiana Arts Commission has been working through, we're doing it at a little bit higher level than what I would call arts and crafts, and we are, I went backwards. We're doing it with a professional artist, okay? And then I wanna just break a few myths real quick, a little myth busting moment. Usually when I talk about the arts, people get a picture in their head. Everyone's got their own picture in their head, right? And it's kind of intimidating for folks who aren't in the arts community to think about when I'm saying professional artist, so like, what does that mean? What does that look like? Here, does it mean an opera singer? Does it mean I have to get silly costumes and sing in front of people and all these things and act really silly? So I just brought some real examples for you all from Indiana. We've been doing this program for 3 years, and I'm going to show you some of the work that's been done in Indiana. This is one of the dance classes. I know it's a little blurry. Sorry about that. Roberta Wong is going to come on later and help demo some of the creative aging work that she does with older adults. She's one of our expert master creative aging artists. She's been doing this program since the inception 3 years ago. And she's a professional ballerina, choreographer, like she does top level ballet. But as you can see in this picture, these people do not have tutus on. They are not on point shoes. She is an expert level ballerina, but she's able to create a program that reaches people where they are, doing chair-seated activities, and get some really great movement in for these folks using the elements of ballet that she's an expert in, right? She's really good at breaking things back down to meet people where they are. She also has a really fantastic Dance for Parkinson's class. I'll let her tell you about that later. This is at the Working Man's Institute. That's a library, right, in New Harmony. This is the artist Peggy Taylor. She's not in any of these pictures, but I always like to give her a shout out. She is one of my most inspirational artists that I've worked with in New Harmony area. She's actually in Westphalia. She's a professional weaver. Again, in the state of Indiana, she's one of the top textile artists I've seen. She does traditional weaving practices. You can find her work for sale at lots of galleries, and she goes to these pioneer festivals and does spinning of yarn. I mean, she's at the level, she's got sheep on her farm. She shears the sheep. She makes the yarn, she dyes it, she makes wool, and then she uses that to weave into these amazing textiles. So Peggy found a way, and she's again at the expert level, to gather about a dozen looms. And these are tabletop looms. These are fairly small, as you can see, and took them to the library, put them out on tables, and had, I think, 12 participants come over 6 to 8 weeks and make these, I think they're wall hanging kind of weavings. And the participants loved it. Full booked up class. She's been doing it now for 3 years in New Harmony, like 2 or 3 times a year at different locations. Always sold out. Everyone's excited about it. Someone at the end of this practice said they were formerly a doctor that had retired, and the next day went and bought a loom for their home so they could continue engaging in this work and being excited about their artistry. After the class ended, they did put up a gallery in the library and invited friends and family for a little exhibition opening, and that was really successful. So proud of that program. This is the HARP program here in Indianapolis at a church. So they're in a church somewhere here in Indy, and they have never touched the harp before, but Melissa Gallant, one of the fantastic teaching artists in our state, taught these folks how to do some basic harp things. They could improvise. At the end, after 6 to 8 weeks, they did a performance together as an ensemble for other folks in their church, and they learned some new skills in harp. This is needlepoint felting. Paula Scott France, another of my favorite artists in Indiana. You'll find out I have a lot of favorites. These people are fantastic. She does wet felting, needle felting. Again, her work blows my mind. I'm in the arts field, and her work blows my mind every time I see it. But she's able to make these small pieces people can make in a few sessions. And I've never seen people so excited about an obscure art form as they are for this needle felting. If you haven't tried it, I highly recommend needle felting. She does one at a cancer center for older adults who are dealing with cancer diagnoses, and she has done some in community settings. Okay, what else have we done? And so, hold on. This is at the Art Barn, I believe, in Valparaiso, who's from the Northwest. This is a painting class that they've called at the Art Barn the Golden Years Art Club, and they've connected with a local facility. So the art happens at the Art Barn. They've got a great facility at the Art Barn for art making. They've connected with a assisted living facility, I believe, I don't know the name of it, near there. And some of the participants came from that facility, and then they went back and did an exhibit in the assisted living facility. And this is the part I love of the story. Some of the artists sold their work to their friends in the assisted living. So they're selling their work, they're making a lot of paintings, and it's really exciting up there. This is in Huntington, Indiana at the Entrepreneur Center. That's fairly new. Emily Guerrero is an artist with Mexican heritage, indigenous Mexican heritage that she loves to share through her teaching. And one of the things here is this flower making. She makes paper flowers with different types of crepe paper, tissue paper, depending on the needs of the place and the budget and all these things. She's got tons of variations, and they made like a May Day, Mother's Day flower extravaganza in the windows of the this Entrepreneur Center, the Art Center in Huntington. And the participants made tons of different types of flowers looking, some look like marigolds, some look like, I don't know, peonies. So she had a lot of variations, and that was really good. They also connected to stories of their lives, female figures. There was a lot of story sharing during the process of making the artwork. This is a dance class in South Bend. I don't remember the name of the facility, but the artist was Elizabeth Leachman, and she led tons of different movement activities, some chair-based, some standing. They did like ballet, jazz, tap, or all these different kinds in this facility, and very successful. The participants were so excited. This is an example of a poetry workshop that someone did. This was a Lafayette-based workshop. I can't remember where it happened. And you know what? This might have been my friend, Mary Artery, at the Lafayette, the Tippecanoe Library. She might not be on here, but I think she works at a library, and she's a writer, and she led a poetry writing class. This is a ceramics class. I love this one, based in Muncie at the Mad Jack's Makers Lab. The artist here taught the participants how to make ceramics, bowls and plates specifically. They decorated it based on kind of like a memory of food that they had. And then at the end of the 8 sessions or whatever, they came together and ate food together off the plates and bowls that they made. And they shared stories. It was like a potluck. They brought food that meant something to them from their lives. And they talked and shared about what that food meant to them using the ceramics that they had made themselves. So how special is that? I love that one. I've got about just a couple minutes before we're going to have Roberta come on and demonstrate. Those are all programs that have happened in the last 3 years here in Indiana. I remember now that I did get a bunch of examples from New Jersey that they just went through a funded program that was specifically for libraries, and I had some examples, but I forgot to put them in the PowerPoint. So other states are doing this work. The Western States Initiative for Creative Aging includes like Idaho, the Dakotas, and maybe even Nebraska. They are doing a library specific initiative. If you know anything about that, let me know. I've heard a little bit about it, but I'm pretty excited to see what they're doing, and I want to follow in their footsteps because they seem to have had success over the last couple of years with their library initiatives. So I've been talking a lot about what we're doing at the IAC. I do want to say and recognize for everyone on here, like if you are not in a place to do a 6 to 8 session artist collaboration, $5,000 grant right now, there are plenty of other ways to get the benefits of creative aging, to do creative aging with no budget, with little time, and without the professional artist element. Of course, I always push the professional artist, even if you're just consulting with them. There are many versions of creative aging. So ours include the skill building, socialization, and being artist-led, but you could, our friend John Kay from Traditional Arts Indiana, I'm sure some of you know him. He has been in this community working with older adults for many, many years. I call him our resident expert whenever I hear from other states, state arts agencies. They're like, oh yeah, we know John Kay. We hired him to consult on our, North Carolina traditional arts programming. He's very sought after in the country for this creative aging and traditional arts work. He has some other models that have been very successful, like show and tell. So that doesn't need to be led by an artist. It doesn't have to have skill building involved, that show and tell. You ask folks to bring something on a theme or something that's meaningful to them, or you can direct it a little more. You have them sit around, and then you as a facilitator kind of facilitate, tell me about your object. Sometimes with folks, they feel humble about their objects, but you have to pull out a few key questions. And that is getting to that socialization and combating helplessness feeling, that you're going to see benefits from that as well. There's also artist demonstrations where if you have someone in your community that has a special collection of things or is special, does wood whittling, and then they can come demonstrate for folks. Those are good ways to engage older adults in being experts in their community. If you come to our full day training, you can hear a lot more from John Kay on those examples that he likes to promote. So I unfortunately do not have time to get into that all today. I do want to take a pause. I've been talking very fast, I realize. But you can put in the chat, when you think of the arts and older adults, do you have someone that comes to mind? I think most people do. Most people, either a patron at your library site or someone in your life that you're like, man, they did have an art practice or creative thing that they did, whether it's pie baking or sewing, quilting, or some other art form. If you can share in the chat someone that pops into your mind, like, oh, this person I know did pie baking until they were 98 years old and always shared them with friends. Let me know what pops into your mind when you think of this stuff. And I can take a breath. Who are you thinking about in your community, in your life? Yes, woodworking. John Kay himself does this bowl carving that he learned about as part of his traditional arts. There's an Indiana bowl hewing group. Yep, wood carving. Started oil painting at 75. Yes, yes, yes. And so this bowl carving, he talks about how you may do wood carving by yourself because you need your, in your garage, you've got your studio, you've got your bench and your tools and things. But the good part about it is when you take those pieces you've woodworked and you bring them to the library, even if the librarian didn't ask you, you walk up and you say, look what I made, this is a horse, whatever. Or, if you harness that a little better at a show and tell, or if that person joins a woodworking club where once a month they get together and talk about the progress they've made on their projects. Those are the really beneficial way we want to encourage people to get engaged, even if they do a solo practice. Hey, Roberta. Okay, we've got lots of painting. Oh, top painting classes till 84. That is one of the things I love about this creative aging program. I've done this kind of work, arts education work for a long time. As soon as we started this creative aging program, which is services for older adults, we had more older adult artists that wanted to lead these programs than we've ever seen in any other program. We've had just peer-to-peer, older adult to older adult leading these classes, showing their expertise and wanting to do this work. I'm really inspired by it. Yes, quilting time. Whenever John Kay does a presentation and he's talking about quilting, he's like, yeah, people get together for these quilting clubs. They don't do a lot of quilting when they're together. It's more of a conversation, of a venting, socialization time. The quilting comes secondary to the conversation, but when they go home, they might finish their quilting. Yes, art can get expensive. I love to dive into that. And I hope that you, Erica, get into our cohort sign up for our cohort so that we can talk more about that. How we fund arts and art supplies and things like that. Okay, so we are so lucky today. I'm gonna fast forward my slides because I put some in case I went short. So today we are lucky to have Miss Roberta Wong, professional artist. I can hear you. I can see you. Hey.
How are we doing?
Good. She's going to lead us in a demo, very short. I do encourage you all, even though your camera's off, to participate in this. So no embarrassment because nobody's can see you. Do some stretches with her, do some movement with her. I know I need it today. And she'll show you a little bit of how she does older adult creative aging work. So please take it away, Roberta.
Awesome. Hi, everyone. So yes, my name is Roberta Wong, and I've been teaching for 30 years. I was actually a dance professional. I'm going to try to talk so that I'm not too echoey, but I'm on a speaker and all that. So basically what this is, it's a class that I teach ongoing. I've taught independent to assisted to memory care and healthcare populations. It's a seated class. Just going to take you through a couple of the moments and describe why and what's going on. What I like about the lifelong program is that we really are not just, say, giving a class, etc. There's a thought behind it, there's a lot of experience behind it, and there's a lot of just fun when you get to move. So yes, don't be embarrassed. Just start to move and let it go on with your day. So the first one we're going to take is actually a slightly creative portion. And basically we're going to be creating something with imagination. That sometimes gets people a little scared about stuff. I'm going to give you cues. It's a guided improvisation with music. You've got the layers of the eye tracking, the brain creativity, and all of this. I'm going to do a sound check first. So Stephanie, is that pretty good?
Sounds good to me.
Louder?
No, that's good. It's good.
Okay. All right, so your music today is by Peter Sandberg. It's called Tumbling Part 2. And basically you're going to start with a true story. You have a receipt in your pocket. You forget what that receipt is from. You're like, why did I have this piece of paper in my pocket? Yeah. And then it's going to be that you're walking in a park and it's a slightly breezy day and it's a beautiful scene. Part of it, when you take it, especially into senior homes, etc., take them into a scene that is lovely. Give them the opportunity to say, oh, it's cold and rainy, but I love it. Or it's beautiful and sunny and all this. You have a bunch of trees with leaves is the point. You lose that piece of paper in the wind, and then you're going to spend the moment trying to grab it. You're going to see it float away. We're just going to take a couple of minutes, but basically the creativity gets them cognitively awake and aware, and it gets them going. So here we go. Enjoy. So you have that piece of paper, you feel it in your pocket, there's something in your pocket. You're pulling it out, it's all crumpled, so you have to unfold it. Was it a dry cleaner slip? Was it a receipt? Was it a note from someone that you forgot to do on your to-do list? Okay, then it's a windy day, it's breezy, and there it goes. You're going to try to grab it, you reach it. They can do this when they're in the chairs. It's flying low maybe, so then you guide them into trying to grab it from low. And there it goes. Oh, can you see it now? It's gone way away. And then all of a sudden, look. And there's also leaves flying around, so you can't even see it. What color are your leaves? Are they golden? Are they brown? Seniors are seated. Could it be above them? Could it be below them? Is it going towards or across? Are there a ton of leaves falling all over you? Do you like that? You give them the freedom to do anything. Are you stomping in the leaves? Are you crunching? All right, beautiful. So you might actually do that twice as long depending on the group you have. Then the next one we're going to do is I take them into a more formal warm-up. It's a stretch and breathe. Yes, I apply a lot of professional dancer isms to this. So part of the training that I liked from the first round, especially from Lifetime Arts, is they talked about don't talk down or simplify. These are adults. Whatever they can process is wherever they're at. So I teach them things like downstage and upstage, professional stage directions. I teach things about, to your audience stage right. And they actually love hearing and feeling those things. So the warm-up we're going to do today is to a Stephen Gutthein's thing, composition. So sometimes you use music that is akin to their era and their age. Sometimes completely contemporary just freshens it all up for everyone. So use the music that you feel good at, because that's what's going to be the best expression. We're going to start a double today with wrists. And you'll find when you teach seniors, they have a really overall good visual and they like seeing the simplicity of this. We're going to plie those arms. You're going to take it from the elbows and you're actually loosening up the joints. And you're strengthening a little circulation as you're going. Then we're going to take it into shoulders, like a big shrug and a circle back and just open. And I joke about if you hear bumping or cracking or popping, that's normal for any age. Then we take huge wings and you take it twice as slow is a good idea. Some people cannot do giant wings, so you give them an option of something smaller. So you could either say, well, you can make wings that are small. You can still fly with that. Okay. We'll take all of that, then we're going to apply a term called retrograde today, which is then you're going to reverse everything you just did from the last item to the first. So retrograde. So then it would be the shoulders next. And it is better if as a teacher I could see you. I get it, but I'm glad, Stephanie, I can see you, so I can see if it's actually working well. And then finally we go in. And sometimes I even write the words down, like this is en dedans instead of en dehors, it's going inside, or you talk about the center line. Okay. So we'll take this, we'll visit it, then there's one more tiny exercise to show. Here we go. So hopefully it's happy music for you. 7 and an 8, circle. Just make it feel good in those wrists. Elbows, here we go. Stop talking so much, but because I haven't taught you before, I kind of give some cues, because then they get to just listen and just go into the music. Okay. So the very last one is a little based more on brain dance-ish stuff. And there's a lot of research now, so no matter what you're doing, I encourage people to add a little bit of research in there. Sorry, I can't read out what's going on with the comments, but okay.
They're fans of you. That's what you're getting.
Okay, awesome. I appreciate that. Okay. So the last one is based on cross-crawl or cross-crawl reaching. A lot of methods use this. I was first introduced, I've been teaching dance for Parkinson's since 2011. It's part of an international program. And one of the teachers used this. So basically cross-crawling, crossing your center line, actually aids the brain in neuroplasticity and creating new neural pathways, et cetera, et cetera. So do your own research, so when you go into the teaching place, you've got that confident feeling, right? Okay. Because there'll be a lot of other little things to look at. You want to be confident about your work. So we're going to take this one as across the center line. Anything at this point that is to the opposite side. Then we're going to shortcut already, because I know we're running into time already, is a heart level cross. Then you're going to take the upper reaches cross. And then the big bonus one is going to go slower, and this is really healthy, especially if they're in wheelchairs. You go slow and you round the back and try to touch the pinky toe. And you do want to slow some of these bigger movements down. Good. And one footnote on that, because it will surprise you. Some people will want to go fast. Let them go fast as long as they're not hurting themselves. Some people will want you to slow down. It's your choice. It's always going to be a multi-level class. You'll find, just work with it. It's a good discovery for you as a teacher. So we're going to do it with chill and cool music. This is off the internet. Here we go. Take a breath. Cross and reach. So this one's just a little cross. Whatever space you're in, reach to the sky, the top of the tree. Top again, reach up. It also is supposed to make you so here we go. 1, 2, roll. Other side. Roll it up. And take that one more time. Take a step. Yes. Yes. Maybe let's get out. And just freeze your spine. So part of this demo is that it's really not hard. Like if you're thinking that, I haven't taught that many seniors, what do I do with them? They're human beings. You might have to say, take a little more relax with the tempo. You know, have a little more space when you're doing each part of the project. That kind of thing. There'll always be people that surprise you. Just roll with it. It's a great adventure. It's really good work to do, especially at this time. All right, Steph, that's all I had for you today.
Yes, thank you so much. The people want to know. The people want to know if you have a YouTube channel where you lead sessions on it virtually.
That's a great idea. I should get one. That's a great idea. I don't have anything like that. I don't have a website. I have an Instagram that I will start using more called RWONG160. RWONG160, or Roberta Wong is the name on it. And it's got my headshot on there so you recognize. You can actually see some of my work at the Michael Feinstein Perfect Harmony. It's the Songbook Foundation. Perfect Harmony is their programming for senior caregivers. So if you want a lot of great examples, Renee is my contact there. She runs it. They will give you people singing opera selections, people doing dance and movement. It's a great resource for you as a teacher to see, okay, this is designed for seniors and caregivers. So let's look at how they're doing it, right? So it's Perfect Harmony. They have a feature every week. We've had maybe 4 features, I think, through this Indianapolis Ballet Dance for Parkinson's chapter. So
And
I
they're
appreciate
indie
that,
based.
yeah.
These are libraries all over the state. So, but you can hire Roberta through our grant program. So we will, yes, we will put Roberta's contact info in the follow-up info.
Awesome, thank you.
Thank you, Roberta.
All right, bye.
Okay, so let me, we only have like 5 minutes left. Ooh, okay, big face. Let me go back to my PowerPoint real quick and finish this up. Okay, this is a picture of Roberta's class at one of her assisted living programs where, and one of the socialization components that she incorporated is bringing this tutu from the professional ballet company so people could get a feel for it and see it in real life. And then they put comment cards all around it as they talked about what dance and ballet and movement meant to them. And one of these women brought their picture of themselves from their childhood in their ballet costume. So I love this picture and sharing that out. And here's Roberta with one of her classes. She gives them flowers for the final performance. And I love that, Roberta. So I wanted to talk about, and I run out of time, how to find an artist, how to hire an artist. What questions do I ask? I have all of this in the full training, but just super, super quickly, I recommend looking for arts organizations in your community. Like if there's a civic theater in your community, they have theater artists that you could hire as an individual, or you could hire them through the organization sometimes. There's lots of arts councils and guilds all over the state. There are freelance artists like Roberta who have like Instagram, and you can ask on Facebook, who's an artist that does this thing. I also encourage people to look at their local college or university. A lot of the professors also do freelance art. And then obviously retired teachers and just general artists are available in almost every community to do this type of work. We'll go over, so you can either contract with the organization as a nonprofit, like the Civic Theater, or you can contract directly with an artist, which is something we'll go over in the full training. And we have lots of checklists of like how to ask the right questions, how to host an artist, what do you need to prepare to do when you're having an artist come. And we'll talk about fair compensation for artists. We're funding these programs so that artists can get paid to do this work. I know often, especially with older adults, there's a tendency to lean towards volunteerism. In this work, we want to see artists fairly compensated. There's a wide range depending on the experience level of your artist. But we can talk about that more in the full training. My next question is, are you ready to do this? Yes. I hope you are, because we have this opportunity just for libraries in Indiana. I've got 25 grants set aside for libraries and that learning session, right? So the learning session will be in March, towards the end of March. But I only have 25 spots, so I have to do some sort of application process, and I want to get good representation across the state. Only one person per library can be in the program. But pick one person from the library to go to the training day, and then they'll be kind of the representative for the grant, which will go to the library. I have a short application process, super short. Who are you? Where's your library? And why do you want to do this? Seriously, very short application. And then I'll pull that together at the end of February. It's due February 26th, and send out some notifications early March that yes, you're in the cohort. The deadline year is wrong. You're right. Dang it. I borrowed an old slide deck, and so that's the right date. February 26th is the right date. The year is wrong. It's 2024. So I will send out more info after this session to everyone who's registered. We'll get the link to the survey, some info about Roberta, and some other info about the program. And you can sign up and be part of this and go deeper with me. Thank you all so much. I hope you enjoyed this webinar. I am available any old time you want to ask a question about artists and creative aging, so feel free to email me anytime. Thank you to Kara for inviting me.
Oh, thank you, Stephanie. This has been wonderful. I love hearing all these options and ideas.
Yeah, absolutely. As you can tell, I'm excited about this work. I love it. I'm passionate about it. I love sharing it. I hope you all will join me in this.
And we'll be sending more info out. She will, I will, everybody will. So you'll get everything that you need. And an LEU certificate. Don't forget.
Paula, you called me out. Dang it. February 15th. All right. Thank you. I will make sure I align the dates correctly. Yeah, the deadline is an important thing. Get right.